about Galena too? And all the other women we've seen so far on our travels across the states? Zach, I'm right, aren't I? This is a vast country. Incredibly vast. Were you thinking about Galena too? And all the other women we've seen so far on our travels across the states? Zach, I'm right, aren't I? This is a vast country. Incredibly vast. And it's mostly composed of mountains, deserts, and farmland, with small towns scattered about here and there. That's how America looks to me. Compared to the scale of this entire country, New York, the address on the prescription led us to this house.
Seems like she ain't home. No lights on either. Professor R's never home, you know.
Patty, why do you know so much about Professor R?
I don't know that much, really.
But you're the first person in town who mentioned her name to me. You also knew about San Rouge, didn't you? And when I tried to ask you more about it back then, you gave me an evasive answer. You're my assistant, aren't you? If you are, then you need to tell me everything you know about this case.
Daddy don't like Lena. He said it's stupid for a man to want to turn into a woman.
What?
And he told me I ain't supposed to talk about her. He said that if you knew someone like her was living here, Agent York, you'd start to hate this town.
That's ridiculous. Why would I ever hate this town? Because one of its inhabitants is transgender? Why in the world would that make a difference to me?
The other folks in town said the same thing as Daddy. They all know about Saint Rouge and Professor R, and about how she's waging war against the Clarksons. But they all say we ain't supposed to talk about it. So,
And here I'd assumed that ignorant way of thinking died out with the 20th century. I guess I really am an outsider after all. I thought that everyone was cooperating with my investigation, but it turns out they were all hiding key information from me. Damn it, Zach. This just made me hate the countryside for the first time in my entire life. Oh, I'm sorry for being so loud, Patricia. But just remember this. Person's birthplace, nature, race, and physical features have no bearing on their value as a human being. We're always free, and we should respect each other just the way we are. So you shouldn't feel a need to hate Lena for no reason. No matter what the people around you say, you can't let them control you. Sometimes things like common sense and decency can end up deeply hurting other people. I sincerely hope you don't forget that.
Okay, I won't.
But If Lena's committed a crime, that's a different story altogether. She may be a social minority, but she's still free and capable of knowing the difference between right and wrong. Professor R. I sincerely hope she's smart enough to understand that.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Listen to the two ends and drink dry the firewater. Do this and you will see the other world.
Zach, did you hear that? It's another oracle. I assume this means we're getting closer to the truth. Well, this is good. We don't have any other big clues at the moment. What do you say we continue the skeletal gentleman's game? After I spent the 90s listening to nothing but punk rock, I fell out of touch with music. But the digital audio player I received last Christmas changed everything. Nowadays, people can walk around with thousands of songs in their pockets. You following me here, Zach? That's right. This oracle is connected to music. The two ends refer to neither periods nor a movie's credits. They refer to the last letter of the alphabet, Z. And what's a word that has two Z's in it? Jazz, of course. Remember, we're in Louisiana here. The firewater is even easier. It's alcohol. Let's go to that jazz bar and have a drink while we consider our next plan of action. Don't worry, this is all part of our job, is it?
Lucari Tiger to DC Eagle. Lucari Tiger to DC Eagle. Come in.
Oh, Daddy.
DC Eagle here. Got any news for me?
Well, Mr. York, we got ourselves a bit of a problem here.
What sort of problem?
Looks like Daniel's gathered up a group of people to help him find Galena's killer on his own. If the Clarksons get serious, they'll probably put an end to this case before we even know what hit us. And it sure won't be wrapped up the way you want it to, Mr. York.
Yes, that certainly is a problem. Judging from Daniel's temperament, things are bound to get out of control. Melvin, I need to find Professor R as soon as possible.
Professor R?
That's right.
That ain't such a good idea.
I didn't ask for your personal opinion, Melvin. Especially if it comes from an antiquated, xenophobic way of thinking that's characteristic of rural towns.
Whoa now, Mr. York. What's going on here? I didn't...
This conversation is over, Melvin. You need to figure out what the Clarksons are planning. Call me again as soon as you know.
Huh? Fine. Whatever you say.
Also, sorry, but would you mind coming to pick up Patricia? I would never think to take an innocent girl like her into an adult watering hole.
Yeah, you're right. CLG's still too young for that.
Wait, Daddy! Agent York! I'm going too! Don't leave me out of this!
No, Patricia. You signed a contract with me, remember? I promise to protect you from all the evil in our world.
That's not what it means!
Patty, you're smart. Shockingly so. But you're still a child. And there are certain things a child like you doesn't need to learn about yet. Just go home for today. Zach and I are both in agreement on this one. I'm so glad you understand, Patty. Okay, Melvin, that's that. I'm leaving her here. The rest is in your hands.
Roger that. I'll take care of her, Mr. York.
This is a vast country, incredibly vast. And it's mostly composed of mountains, deserts, and farmland, with small towns scattered about here and there. That's how America looks to me, compared to the scale of this entire country. New York, Chicago, and LA are all microscopic. Sometimes they even feel like figments of my imagination. Think back to what Las Vegas looked like when we were driving up I-15. Don't mind me, Zach. This is how I wake myself up. Gentleman framed or foe? Or does he merely exist outside the realms of myth? Still too early to tell, but it's clear that he'll be the key to uncovering this case's mysteries. That's what my soul tells me. By the way, Zach, Moongun feels very familiar to me. You might even say he reminds me of someone. Yes, I think I see the connection. Cheerful, wise, yet also mysterious African-American who appeared in a variety of different films. My mind must be overlapping him with the skeleton gentleman. Do you remember his name? Ah, yes, that's it. Scatman Crothers. In 1980, he played Dick Halloran in The Shining, and in 1983, he was in The Twilight Zone. He played the man who invited all those elderly folks into a strange new world. I knew it, Zach. There's definitely a connection here, but he's a bit too old. Scatman's more of a sage character. Our skeletal gentleman is a little younger, isn't he? Yes. They have different body types, but what about Forrest Whitaker? He made his debut in 1982 in Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Then he was in Platoon and The Color of Money, both released in 1986, followed by Good Morning Vietnam in 1987. Oh, and he was in Bird in 1988. What an impressive filmography. Zach, it appears to be closed. Let's come back during business hours. Look, Zach. That seat is beckoning us. Listen to the two ends and drink dry the firewater. Do this, and you will see the other world. Hungan's oracle pointed us to this bar. So we must have to do something here. But I feel like the firewater part is missing something. Zach, do you see that? It's a gigantic go sign. I think someone's trying to send us a very powerful message here. That settles it. This must be a singularity. Beautiful lipstick. The color red suits you.
Thank you. Red is the color of life. No human who knows the joy of life would ever hate this color. Or would they?
Maybe. Maybe not. But I know of a drug with a red color that certainly doesn't signify life. It sometimes even steals the lives of those who drown themselves in it. Catch my drift?
Before a candle's flame burns out, it burns brighter than ever before, blazing like a shining red star. Don't you think that instant is more valuable than a century of smoldering?
That blaze doesn't cast out the darkness. It only emphasizes it. But where are my manners? I'm FBI Special Agent Francis York Morgan. Let me get straight to the point. You were present when Lise Clarkson was murdered. And you were also involved with Galena Clarkson's death. Correct?
Agent Morgan, are you a man who can hold his liquor?
I'd love some firewater.
We're similar. You and I.
Really? I don't see the resemblance.
Well, you should. Look deeper. Think about who you were when you were first born, and who you are now. Different selves exist inside your body.
Are you talking about Zach?
I was born as a man, but in my heart, I wasn't so. And this is a small town. I experienced far more scorn and discrimination than anyone could ever imagine. Especially from my father. Parents are supposed to raise their children with love. That's the norm, right? Not for me. I was raised by my father's flesh-seething hatred.
So you ran away from home, started making drugs, then seduced a young life and destroyed it? That story makes no sense to me. Think about it. They didn't burn you in a witch hunt, nor did they ever try to take your life. Yet here you are, letting your selfish fantasies drive you to torch the entire town with vengeful fire. Now tell me, Leonard Clarkson, why did you abandon your inheritance only to end up in a place like this? What do you hope to achieve?
You've already figured out that much. Leonard doesn't exist anymore. He disappeared from me a long time ago. All that's left now is the red soul.
The Red Soul?
The Red Soul gives me strength and courage. And I vow to use that strength to change this world. The Red Soul has the power to amplify the unique characteristics we all possess. Mentally and physically. That's why I created the Holy Red Powder. So that everyone can enjoy its divine benefits.
That's ridiculous.
Our world is home to scarier monsters than violence and prejudice.
Ugh. Zach.
Someday, even your best friend will abandon you.
No. Never.
And in the end, you'll be all alone.
Zach and I will always be together. Ugh.